Hello students, welcome to the Sketchup 8 tutorial on 3D solids and 2D nets. Today we are going to draw a rectangular prism and open that solid up to reveal its two-dimensional net. Let's open Sketchup 8. Let's immediately save this file. Let's go to File, Save As. When you save in SketchUp 8, you have to change the directory to your student number. So in the Save In window, click the down arrow and look for your student number. Or you can look for your student number down the left-hand side here. When you've clicked on your student number, I want you to change the file name to Rectangular Prism. Rectangular Prism. Click Save. Okay, from the top toolbar, let's click on the magnifying glass or the zoom tool. And I want you to position the magnifying glass near the girl's feet, but not at the origin. So I'm going to position it here, and then I'm going to zoom in with my mouse button, with my mouse wheel. Okay, I don't want to draw it too close to the girl's feet because when we open the solid up, I don't want it to interfere with where she's standing. So I'm actually going to draw it in front of her here. So I'm going to click on the rectangle tool, and I'm going to start my rectangle on that red origin line. I'm going to click once and start pulling outwards, but I'm not going to click a second time. I want you to type on your keyboard 40 cm, comma, space, 25 cm. If you're stuck, look in the bottom right-hand corner of my video and you'll see the dimensions there in the dimension window. 40 cm, comma, space, 25 cm. And then hit enter. So that will create a rectangle on the ground 40 centimeters long, 25 centimeters wide. All right, let's add a third dimension. Let's add some height to this rectangle. So let's click on the push-pull tool from the top toolbar. Let's click once on the rectangle and start pulling up. Do not click a second time. I want you to type in 15 cm and then hit enter. All right, so we have our rectangular prism, 40 centimeters by 25 centimeters and 15 centimeters tall. Okay, let's look at this box from the front. So let's go up to the camera menu, choose standard views, and choose front. So we're going to look at this box directly from the front. Now, it's looking also at the girl from the front. So what I want to do is I want to click on the pan tool, the hand, and I want to just slide it over here. Okay, so we're going to need this toolbar down the left-hand side. So if you don't have it, you have to go to View, Toolbars, and then choose Large Tool Set. Make sure you have a check mark beside Large Tool Set. So can you do that now? Okay, so now that we've got the large tool set, I want you to look for this tool right here. It's called the 3D text tool, the 3D text tool. So let's click on the 3D text tool, and this window will pop up, place 3D text. I want you to type in front. Now I'm using font Arial Narrow because it's a very skinny font. I've changed it to bold so it will stand out a bit. And what I want to do is I want to set it to a height of 3 cm, 3 centimeters. For extruded, I want to leave it at 0.00. Now, if it's not 0.00, could you please type in 0.00 centimeters or 0.00 meters? It doesn't matter. Leave everything else the same. Let's click place. And what you'll see is you'll now be in control of that font, moving it around. So I want you to center it on the front face and then click. That click will paste it to the front face. So let's have a look. Let's make sure it's in the right spot. Let's orbit around a bit. Make sure it's sitting on the front face, and you'll see that it is. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a bit. I'm a little bit far away. Okay, so let's repeat the steps for all of the sides. So I'm orbited around so I can see the side here. All right, I'm going to click on the 3D text tool. This time I'm going to type in side and I'm going to click place. I'm going to leave everything else the same. It will remember the settings from the previous time I used 3D text. So click place, and I want you to position it in the center of that side and click to glue it on. All right, let's orbit around to the back. Let's click on 3D text tool and let's type in back. Leave everything else the same. Click place, center it on the back, and then click to glue it on. Now at any time, if you make a mistake, if you don't like the position of where it is, you can go to edit, undo. Okay, and then you just repeat that step. All right, let's orbit around. Oops. Let's orbit around to the other side. Let's click on the 3D text tool. Let's type in side again and click place. Let's place it in the middle of that side and click. All right. Let's orbit to the top now and do the same thing. Let's click on 3D text tool. Let's type in top. Click place. Place it in the center of that face and click. And then one more label. Let's orbit around and let's have a look at it from the bottom. Let's click 3D text tool and let's type in bottom and then click place. And don't worry that the lettering looks upside down, that's fine. So click on that face. All right, there we go. We have all the sides labeled now. So now's a good time to save it. So let's go to File, Save. Okay, so the next step is creating groups. So let's go to the top left-hand corner and let's click on the selection arrow tool. And I want you to click on the front face. Now I want you now on your keyboard to look for the control key in the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard, CTRL, control. I want you to hold that control key down and you'll see now beside the cursor, beside your pointer arrow, you'll now have a plus sign. So I need you to hold that control key down constantly until I tell you to let go. So what that control key does is it will allow you to highlight or click on several objects at once. So now I want you to click on the front lettering. Then I want you to click on the 4 edges that surround that front face. Then let go of the control key. So that control key allowed us to click on 6 objects at once: the front face, the lettering, and the 4 edges that surround that front face. Then using your mouse, the right mouse button, right click, and then I want you to choose Make Group. Okay, click on Make Group. All right, so now that entire front face is now one group instead of 6 different objects. So now that we've done it once, let's repeat for all of the sides. So I'm going to orbit around and look at the side from an angle, and I'm going to repeat those steps. So I'm going to click on the selection arrow tool, and I'm going to click on the face first. Then I'm going to hold the control key, and I'm going to click on the lettering, and then the 4 edges that surround that side. Then I'm going to let go of the control key. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose Make Group. All right, let's orbit around to the back. Let's do the same thing. Let's click on the selection arrow tool. Let's click on that face, hold the control key down constantly, click on the lettering, and then click on the 4 edges that surround that side, and then let go of the control key, right click, choose Make Group. Then let's orbit around to the last side, to the left side. Let's repeat those steps. Click on the face, hold the control key, and then click on the lettering and the 4 edges. Right click and choose Make Group. And then I'm going to look at it from the top. I'm going to click on the top face, hold the control key, and click on all of the other parts. Right click, make group. Okay. Now, once we finish the top, you might be thinking, okay, there's still one side, we still have to create a group on the bottom. And you would be right. However, because we're not actually going to move the bottom is always going to be attached to the ground. We don't have to create a group, but it doesn't hurt if you want a little bit more practice and you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to position my camera so that I'm looking at the front from an angle, and I'm going to pan so that I also can see the ground in front of the box. Okay, so the angle is very important that I can see the front face, some of the top, and some of the side. This angle is going to work the best for what we're going to do. Now, this is the trickiest step in the whole tutorial. Once you get it done once, it will be very easy to do for the many times after we have to do this skill. All right, let's click on the selection arrow tool and let's click on the front group. Now remember, we created a group. So when I click on the front, it includes the face, the lettering, and the 4 edges surrounding it. Let's click on the rotate tool from the top toolbar. The rotate tool looks like 2 spinning red arrows. Okay, so I'm going to click on the rotate tool and you'll see that it looks like a protractor. So what I want to do is I want to position the rotate tool in the bottom right hand corner of the front face. Now if I center the spinning arrows on that vertex, it will say end point in group. So I want to click, and this is very important, don't let go of your mouse, hold the mouse button, and I want you to slide across the ground on that edge to the opposite vertex, position the spinning arrows right perfectly where it says endpoint in group, and then let go of your mouse. That step was very important, okay? So if you don't think you did it right, do it again, because if you don't do that step right, you'll get some very interesting results. All right, so now what I want you to do is position your cursor on the front face where it says on face in group. Click once on that face, and then you should be able to rotate that face downwards, and I want you to keep going until it hits the ground. And then click a second time to stop that motion. All right, so what we want to do is we want to use the orbit tool and make sure that it's lying flat on the ground. And you can see that it is lying flat on the ground. So if it's not, go to Edit, Undo, repeat those steps, and try it again. So now what I want to do is I want to do the same thing for the side. So I'm going to be looking at the side from an angle where I can still see some of the top. Let's repeat this. Let's click on the selection arrow tool. Let's click on that side group. Then I have to use the rotate tool. I'm going to start in the bottom right hand corner, position it to end point in group, click once and hold the mouse, slide on the ground all the way across that edge to the opposite vertex, get endpoint in group again, and let go of the mouse. Then click on the side where it says on face in group, click once, and then pull downwards till it hits the ground. Then hit the mouse button again. Okay? Make sure, verify that it's lying flat on the ground. As you can see, it is. All right, let's orbit around to the back. So you've already done it twice. Let's see if you can do it a third time. Let's click on the selection arrow tool and click on the back group. Click on the rotate tool. Start in the bottom right hand vertex where it says endpoint in group. Click and hold the mouse button. Go across the ground, across the edge to the opposite vertex till it says endpoint in group, and then let go of the mouse button. Click on the back face and then pull downwards, and then click to end that rotation. Okay, so I'm going to spin around so I'm looking at it more or less from the front. Now, if we were to repeat those steps and then rotate this side, it would leave the top floating in air, and we don't really want that. So we're going to have to change our strategy just a little bit this time. So let's click on the selection arrow, let's click on the side, and then hold the control key and then click on the top. So we're actually going to rotate both of these sides as one group, even though they are 2 separate groups. Oops, I apologize for that. Let me zoom back in here. My mouse is very sensitive. It's a touch mouse, so sometimes funny things happen. Okay, so I've got both of those groups highlighted. I'm going to click on the rotate tool. I'm going to start in the bottom right hand corner where it says endpoint and group. Click and hold, go across to the opposite vertex and let go. Click on this side and then you'll see both sides will move, and I'm going to get it to position on the ground and then click. And then finally I have to rotate the top side. So let's click on the selection arrow, let's click on the top, and let's do it one last time. All right, so if I orbit around and look at it from the top, you can see now that I've taken a 3D shape, which was a rectangular prism, and I've opened it up to reveal its 2D net. This is what the net looks like for this rectangular prism. So let's save one last time. Let's go to File, Save. So this concludes this video tutorial on how to draw a rectangular prism and its net. Please call Mr. Ueda over to show him your project. Thanks for watching. Bye.